Hardrocker highlights on location here at Goodell Gym, and behind us is the basket that Scott May made the winning free throw with 9/10 of a second left on Sunday afternoon to propel the Hardrockers over Jamestown by a point and send the Hardrockers into the DAC Championship game Tuesday night up in Spearfish at 7 o'clock. And you can hear the broadcast on the Hills 97.5 if you don't go on up to Spearfish. Jason, what a game. I don't know where to start. I think one of the things, 10 minutes to play in the game, we're down by 10. But your team all season long, the resiliency of this team is just tremendous.
Yeah, it is, and it's something with the kids around here. I think I look at the other teams and our athletic department and stuff, and since I've been here, we might struggle with a young team or whatever, but they still are. They might have a bad game one night and come back, or a bad half and come back, and they are. They're very resilient kids, and that's something as a school Mines guy and the Hardrocker family, they need to be proud of that, because they are. They're people that might get knocked down once in a while, but they get right back up and do a heck of a job, and we did last night and found a way to win when things weren't looking very good for us.
Take us through the last 10 minutes of the game when you were down by 10. In your mind as a coach, what brought you back into the game, and what were the keys to eventually winning it?
Well, yeah, I mean, even with 7 minutes left, we got a timeout called, and we tried to go zone. We tried to do everything because we just could not get stops, and sat them down and said, hey, it's your time now, guys, and if you want this bad enough kind of thing, you got to get some stops and some rebounds, and they did. They came out and got those stops that we needed, and then really executed on the offensive end too. We did exactly what we needed to do. We got to the free throw line, which wasn't necessarily a good thing because we missed a couple of them, but still got that confidence going with doing what we needed to do. So, but yeah, just got a couple stops and came down and got a couple baskets and some big baskets too, but nothing more than that.
It seemed too down the stretch it was your starting five on the floor that did most of the work. And what can you say? Nate Jacobson had a couple of clutch threes. Scott May. Scotty's an underrated player, and to see a guy like him win the game, I think, in his senior year is certainly a great thing to see.
Oh, no question. Scott's been there all 4 years as a starter, and all these things. But even the other seniors too that come to practice every day, and Caleb Raymer comes in and makes a great play in that stretch where we needed a stop, and it was our starters. Even though they're not playing great and doing this, it's one of those things that you count on the first 28 games or 30 games, whatever it is, and kind of go with them. And we did. We went with them, and even though, like I said, they might not have been playing as good as the other guys, but have that confidence in them, and they did what they needed to do. And it was guys like Scott and Nate, and when they all played 30-plus minutes. But as a coach, you kind of put it in their hands, and hopefully you make the right decision with the guys that have been doing it all year for you.
The other thing early in the game, first half, you again didn't shoot well at all. But the thing that kept you in the game and had a 1-point lead at halftime, you forced numerous turnovers. They had 8 turnovers in the first 8 minutes of the game, and they were forced turnovers because of your defense.
And once again, that's the guys getting after it, and guys coming off the bench. I know Lucas Nolan had a couple in that as well, and Shockman doing some things around the basket. So it's definitely a team effort for us, night in and night out. We might have an all-conference player or two, but for a team that finished second in the regular season, playing for the championship game, you think you'll have 3 or 4 all-conference kids and guys making plays in this. It's not. It's a team effort, and if one guy doesn't do his job or doesn't do it good enough, another guy's going to come in, and a big part of that with the turnovers and our defensive effort is making sure that we're fresh, making sure guys are coming in and know their assignments, and from our scout and our game plan, they have to come in and execute what we want them to do, and they did that.
Now the game at Spearfish for the conference championship is an automatic berth into the NAIA National Tournament. If you upset Black Hill State, we know Black Hill State's going to go because of their high ranking. On the flip side of that, do the Hardrockers have any chance at all at an at-large berth? Oh yeah,
we have a chance. We are playing top 5 team in the country. Possibly even top 3 when it's all said and done. If we would lose, it's going to be a long shot. You know, we might miss out by 1 or 2 spots. I think we'll be right up there. I think we should be ranked, you know, and whether or not they take it to the 25th, 24th, kind of depends on some upsets, kind of depends on, you know, automatic berths and who gets them, and, you know, away we go. But we got to count on our Raider. Coach Kaminsky up there been put in charge of that this year, and you know, hopefully he does a good job to fight for getting the DAC 2 teams in there, because unless we upset them, we'll only get 1 team in, and unless the rankings are high enough to get us up there. And you know, we beat 4 top 25 teams in the country. We've beat Black Hills, which was top 5, and done some things at our part, finished second in the regular season. So we feel like we've done what we could to, you know, have that opportunity. But bottom line is we want to go over there and win, and not put it in the hands of somebody else, or, you know, the other guys around the country. And there's an outside chance, but hopefully we can take care of business.
No secrets with Black Hills. You played them twice. You played them I don't know how many times since you've been coaching the Hardrockers, so there's no secrets. So what's going to decide the game?
Well, there isn't a lot of secrets, especially with those guys having 5 starters starting for 4 years, and we know what they can do. The problem is we know what they're capable of doing too. You know, they had 27-point lead again last night in a semifinal game in a conference. So you know they're playing pretty well right now, and they just have so many weapons, and it's taking away a couple of the weapons. Hopefully, you know, a couple of their other weapons don't play, you know, the top of their game. But you know, it's going to be a team effort again for us. You know, we got to have guys that are scoring points. We got to have our defense there again, and, you know, making those hustle plays, getting at, you know, we're playing for everything. You know, they're playing. They already know, like you said, that they're in, but they also know that we beat them up there last year too. So they're not going to let up at all, and it's going to be a great game. But you know, we have to bring our A game, and I know they will too.
The Hardrockers in Black Hill State for the DAC Conference Championship Tuesday night up in the Young Center, 7 p.m. tip-off, again 6:45 on the Hills 97.5. And have complete coverage at InsideDakotaSports.com. Game story and photos from the Hardrocker game. Thanks to Jason Henry, and this is Tom Rudebusch for Hardrocker Highlights.